Okay, we're ready to get marking. The first thing you'll need to do before you start marking is make sure that you've imported your class. And the easiest way to do that is to get yourself a CSV file of your class. You want to make sure that you've got some sort of identification code in the column A, and then your first and second names. I'm just copying and pasting this. You can get these CSVs out of Compass. Just make sure you delete any of the other students that aren't from your class out of the little tab there. When you're ready to go, you just click Import Class, and that'll all work for you. Now, we're going to start marking, and when we want to start marking, basically, we should have the rubric that we've designed and entered in the marking tab. You can always readjust the rubric if you feel that it's not easy enough to see all on one page, and you can do that just by changing the width of the columns there. It's up to you how much of the rubric you want to see on one page. It does kind of make sense to try and see as much of it as possible. So you can adjust those columns at your leisure. The first thing you'll notice is that we can mark both formative and summative assessment on the one rubric, so you need to make sure that you select whether or not it's the formative or the summative version of the piece of assessment. You can select your students then from the student drop-down menu, and then you start marking by clicking on the rubric, and you should notice the score moving up as you assign the marks. If you've got filters as well, you can put those filters in, and you can write some feedback. Then, to move on to the next student, you simply select the next student from the list. If you want to go back and change the mark of the first student that you marked, you select them from that list again, and you can, of course, change their feedback or change their mark accordingly, depending on what you want to do. Once you finish marking a class, you can go and check out the analytics, and that's, again, you've got a summative or formative option up the top here. You do need to click this analytics button to get the Guttman chart to load for you. And once you've done that, it should load the Guttman data into the chart for you. Because we've only marked one student, there's only one kid's work there. If I was to go and look at the summative then, I'd notice that because I haven't marked any students that there's no data in there at all. If I want to go back and mark again, I click on the marking. If I want to go home, I click on the home button, and I'm back at the import class. So that's basically marking mode. You can mark by selecting formative or summative. You can check out the formative or summative Guttman chart, and you can import your class, or you can edit the rubric by entering edit mode again if you want to change anything. But once you've pretty much designed your rubric, there's not much editing that you will need to do, so you can pretty much stick in this marking mode. That's how to mark and view the Guttman charts in Quantify Learning.